So the TED Talk's not out yet, is it?
No. I actually got some really cool news when I was in California. Don't know how much I'm supposed to share, but essentially my talk is one that they're pushing the hardest. And so the release is going to be delayed because they're doing the prep for
putting some razzle dazzle on it.
Yeah. So I'll just say they're very excited. TED team is very excited about my talk.
Is TED the fact that you did it, is that able to be out there?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Now you straight from the south side. I'm just so happy to be here right now. Real Rap podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back. Another episode, Real Rap Podcast. Very special guests. We have Natasha Pearl Hansen. As per usual, don't remember what episode we're on. And also, we've been talking for the last 5.5 hours, so we're going to jump back into our conversation. And no, please tell me. So now you're obviously a stand-up, and I want to get into kind of your catalyst to what really put you on the map, because that is fascinating to the end of the world to me. But doing a TED Talk, right? Mm-hmm. That's so. If your base is comedy. And I've definitely seen you see actors that start off, Robin Williams or, Kevin Hart, and people that go on to do something serious. And it's like, to go from the comedy stage to now you're on a TED Talk. Like, what was that? What was that like? Because are you playing for laughs still? Are you?
Oh yeah. I think the way that I got chosen for TED was very organic. I had met somebody in a really cool way who ended up working for TED. We ended up not knowing what each other did, but we just got along. She's now one of
That's a hell of a bullet point on a resume, by the way.
It is. It's really cool. So essentially my hat got thrown in the ring for a TED Talk. And then they did their first round of interviews, and, I just came into it just being fully myself. They ask you questions, you answer the questions.
Sure.
So it's not like you have to necessarily pitch an idea, but they want to see if you're a fit for the theme of what those talks are in the specific city they have you in mind for.
Yeah. And I'm imagining 10 by 10 room, one person in this chair, main person in this chair, and then just sitting down with a notepad.
So probably, but everything's on Zoom now.
Just even coming up with my fake scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I'd equate it to being really similar to what general meetings are like with networks. So you go into a general and they just want to generally assess who you are, different ideas you just have, a little bit of your backstory, like what they could create with you, where your ideas could go. So, I mean, it kind of felt like that. I had done generals with a number of different networks and stuff in the past, even ones that I'd pitched other people to during, because I was like, it doesn't seem like I might be a fit for what you're looking for, but what about this person? So I'm like, I'm
so
always.
You already kind of got your charm bag in order.
Well, I'm always very trusting. I don't think every opportunity is for me. And I also, if I think I'm not an opportunity for something, or I'm not the right fit for something, I'll think of somebody who is, because I think that's just a good way to give back to the
I genuinely
universe
feel
of
good connecting people and putting other people on.
I straight up was in a pitch with MTV and pitched somebody else for exactly what they were looking for, because I was like, they were looking for cartoons at the time, and I was like, I don't do that, but this person is an excellent choice. So those kind of things. So I kind of went into it with that attitude of, I was like, they'll know who's supposed to be on this stage. The theme of the talks this year was the future is human. So I had just been through a number of personal experiences that really drew them in, but they don't write it for you. You do checkpoints along the way, and you write it. Past one, I wrote just kind of a general outline of what I wanted to get out.
Wow. And if the topic is the future is human, then you cannot chat GB it at all, right?
No. And I don't rely, I will use AI for an outline for something.
Sure.
here's all this stuff. Can you clean it up?
Yeah.
Or I might run my newsletter through it before I put it out just to check for spelling errors.
Of course.
You know, that kind of stuff. You cannot write with it. I cannot. I mean,
For creativity? No.
No. I mean, you can't. So
We can't. There's a
there are
generation
people that
behind
will.
us and behind them that are like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
yeah, put a pin in that because I actually have an interesting comment about
okay.
that. So I did my first pass of just getting ideas out, met with them round one, just kind of read it through. And it was supposed to be about like 30-40% done at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say it was maybe 20-30% done. Then by the second pass, you were supposed to be about 70% done. Something else happened in my life between pass one and pass two that I just sat down and fucking went from the heart what I thought would speak to people. Like, I think some people think your TED Talk is supposed to be like, this happened to me and it was such a... I was like taking it from the angle of this is supposed to be affecting people and making them feel like they're not just by themselves and feeling this way.
Yeah.
So
that is so very powerful. I'm happy that you actually said that way. There's something about, I think that's why people listen to like heartbreak songs or whatever songs. Because when you hear whatever experience you're going through, as soon as, or even if I see a comedians do this for me all the time, and they bring up something that you might be going through in your life, and you're like, I'm not the only one. And there's a weight that gets lifted off.
And like in comedy, I feel like you do write for yourself, but with the knowledge that other people are going to find a way to relate to it.
And if they laugh, then that's kind of that's a little handshake.
Yep. And I did it very similar with TED. And, I made it comedic, but I also made it hard hitting, and you go through a lot of emotions through my talk. So by pass number two, that was supposed to be 70%. I got done reading it and the TED team was like, this talk is excellent. No notes. And I was like, holy shit. Because there were 2 more checkpoints before we were supposed to be done.
No notes.
And I was like, damn, that must be a good thing.
Exactly as I planned.
Well, I really wrote from a real place.
Sure.
And they saw that and then, and then I performed it well. And then now the TED official team apparently agrees. So I'm glad that everybody's happy.
Sure. How was it in the room?
It was amazing. I mean, stuff hit that I wasn't even expecting to. But you take people on that roller coaster. So my talk was about how humor is used to heal people. So there were multi-layers in it. Part of it was the undertone of why the general public should have respect for comedians without saying that to the audience, The subtext. A lot of mine was full of subtext because if you say too much, you're telling an intelligent audience that they're not intelligent enough to get it. And also, throughout the talk, I was talking about really difficult things, but breaking it with jokes.
Which, by the way, I can't stand when comics do that on stage. When they do their premise, punchline, tag it up and go, it was about panties.
Right. Yeah. And you're like, okay. Yeah. Which some people, they have like a shtick like that, which is fine.
The metaverse or whatever.
But I mean, you don't, especially with a TED audience, like it's intellectually curious people.
Of course.
And so you don't have to spell it out like that. So, in the writing, I made it so that you were feeling the thing that I was talking about while I was talking about it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Instead of just being like, you should do this, it was just being displayed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was really proud of it. And it was such a unique experience. I've never prepared for something like that. I mean, I knew in March that I'd gotten chosen. I had my final talk written by July. We didn't start our regular meetings till June. And the talk was in September, and so it was just on my mind all year.
Because we had to reschedule, and then you gave me the reason why. I was like, for real? Okay. Were you a TED Talk fan prior?
When TED first came out, I was listening to a lot of them because it was such a new thing. And then throughout the years, I've found certain ones that I like, of course, like Brene Brown.
Did you ever watch the Elizabeth Gilbert one?
No, but I love her books. I did not watch hers.
I've read Eat, Pray, Love. I never
didn't
made
read
it through
that.
I never made it through the. I didn't see the movie.
Was the one I read, and I
will
loved
her
that.
TED Talk. I low key changed, like it altered my path through life.
Well, I mean, if you didn't read Big Magic, that I read that probably in 2017. For sure, it was 2017 because reading that book changed my mind about putting things out. You know, everyone is constantly in creativity, or if you're an inventor or an entrepreneur, you're like holding on to your ideas. And her whole thing with that book was like, ideas are going to find a host, and if you're not the one to make it you know, manifest, then it's going to find another avenue. And she gives like anecdotes as to why that happens and how she had like backburnered this idea for a book and met one of the authors that she had idolized forever in a completely different country. And they had already written that same exact book. And she was like, oh, I put it on a shelf and look who made it happen. And like, it kind of trains you, like, put things out there. We're going to have overlap of ideas. And that's actually a beautiful thing.
Of course.
You know, not everybody's meant to make everything happen.
Yeah. And shout out to Kim Flores, because he used to say very similar things. But what you just said was definitely a parallel to what she talks about on her TED Talk. She talks a lot about creativity and how there's so many things. I'm not gonna get geeky because I'll look like a little foo-foo on here. But no, there's one in particular, one section of it, and I promise you, I watch it a good maybe once a quarter.
Okay.
There's one section of it where she's talking, and she does say that, like, you know, sometimes you'll feel creativity coming, like it's just rolling over the plains, coming like a pack of horses, and if you don't get somewhere to write it down, it'll pass through you and go on to the next creative. But one of the things she said in there that I stick to is she said back in the Roman, you know, the Greek days during the Renaissance and all that, is that they used to think, because a lot of their young creatives were offing themselves because of just the pressure of trying to outdo themselves or you know, keep up with the times.
People,
and they said that at the time they removed your creativity and said you have a genius or whatever that is in the room with you while you're creating. So if you do something spectacular, you can't take too much of the credit because your genie happened to be the one giving you this. And then on the other side of that, if what you did stunk, it's not really your fault. Your genie was just, you know, kind of.
So it's kind of giving them permission to just allow it to flow.
Exactly. Because she opens up her TED Talk saying, everybody is treating me like I'm doomed because it's very more than likely the greatest thing I ever did is already behind me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's such a weird thing too, because you're like, it's the same. I was just having this conversation with my co-founder yesterday. Remind me about that pin that we talked about for later, because she is a professor and she works with Gen Z, and it turns out
the young folks,
they're not as into AI as you would think.
But there's going to be a counterculture, I'm sure, of course.
There's always that cycle in generations of like, no, we want to go back to this nostalgia that we never experienced. Like Gen Z, Gen Alpha is kind of yearning for like, they're like, it's really interesting. I'm like, okay, I have hope in this generation. At one point, people didn't have hope in millennials, and that's what I am. So, you know, we're all young ones. But yeah, so we were kind of talking about, sorry, you had said something and I said my co-founder and I were talking about that. Remember what that was?
We were on the Elizabeth Gilbert and the geniuses. Putting off your feelings of doubt. One hit wonder. Your best thing is behind.
That's what we were talking about. So it was how, so my business, my startup has morphed and is now kind of following suit with what me and the people that were using it have kind of undergone over the last couple of years. You know, that's what makes creatives really interesting founders, because they're able to move with the people that are using the thing
Sure.
And they're able to morph it along with what they're discovering as their life progresses as well.
Yeah.
It's like an iPhone has to change over time.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's not going to be. And I think a lot of people get this rigid idea with their with whatever it is they want to put out into the world.
Yeah.
And that's why music and artistry and comedy are so interesting, because once you start to trust the person behind the thing, you're going to come along with them as they put out Beyonce's country album, or you know what I mean? Like you'll stick with the artist or the person behind the thing instead of putting them in a box of what they're expected to put out next.
And on the other side of that, they tell you never meet your heroes, because usually
It's bad news.
usually the people at the highest level of creativity are complete D-bags, because that's what it takes. Like for the iPhone, of course Steve Jobs is gonna just move with whatever the way everything flows,
I mean,
because he's not tethered to anything. He's a reformed hippie, barely.
Yeah.
It's Steve Wozniak doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Thomas Edison. It's Nikola Tesla that's doing all the heavy
Yeah.
lifting. You know what I mean? And then when they live long enough, you're like, you're a hunk of garbage person. I'm not even gonna label anyone in particular.
Yeah.
I've met a few. We're in the industry, and I've met some people, like before I meet them, like, I love all the everything, and then 30 minutes later, like,
Here's what you got to be careful of, whatever industry you're in, whether it's tech, whether you're in entertainment, you can never get stuck in your new bubble, whatever that is, because that's what ruins artistry. So even some of my favorite comedians that over time have gotten more accustomed to a certain kind of lifestyle have been more and more underwhelming, because it feels like they lose touch with reality in the sense that most people are experiencing it. Like you're supposed to be speaking to mainstream America or mainstream people, wherever they may be. And if you no longer know what that's like, then they can't really relate to you anymore.
I'm also, though, a fan of somebody that can distill culture.
Yeah.
And just keep it pristine, keep it, marbleized like the mosquitoes in Jurassic Park. You know? There was that goofy Netflix documentary on that one sushi guy in a under a subway tunnel in Japan that only makes like 5 different kinds of sushi for the last 70 years. He doesn't do any of the nouveau Western Mexican infusion, whatever. He's like, I just make like 5 things every day, last 50, 60 years. And he's just perfected it. And there's something enticing about that, right? And lately, I don't know, what do you think? I'm interested to hear your perspective on my idiot nonsense. But I think for especially quite recently, we've been putting a little too much pizzazz on comedians. Like for a moment there, it was like it felt like freedom of speech was kind of under attack, and then comedians stood up with their Captain American shields and was like, Wakanda forever. And it felt like along the way, almost forgot to, hey, your job is to be funny. Go on stage, tell a joke, make somebody laugh.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've got this interesting, we've got a lot of like bubbles that I feel like are popping soon. I feel like we've got like this AI bubble. I feel like we've got this comedy bubble. I hate to say that as somebody working in comedy, but like we've desensitized our audience so much with short clips of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That I feel like people's attention spans aren't really there. Like people will come out and see shows live, but it's not as often anymore. And it's harder to get them there because they're seeing so much of that shit all day that they're like losing track of what they're supposed to do, So I feel like, in that regard, we've kind of put too much pressure on comedians to have to like build an audience and put stuff out consistently. It's a positive. It means that there's like so much opportunity out there, but it's also draining everybody. And I think it's having some backlash on the community as a, an artist community and as
In the room, comedy is still
the room.
For
Yes.
me, in the room, it's fantastic. But there's no way around the fact that comedy at this point in time isn't 90s or early 2000s. At this point in time, if you want to grow yourself, grow your brand, grow your business,
it is.
growing your audience, growing the real life flesh and blood humans in the room means you have to grow ones and zeros on your phone. Which is the dirty marriage. Is there going to be some random Kobe Bryant comedian out there that just is nothing but word of mouth and woo woo? Perhaps, but
I know people that are trying to do that have gotten off socials, and I just don't.
Like, good luck to you.
That's such a grassroots undertaking at this point.
Yeah,
that's
like doing the Oregon Trail today with the stagecoaches and the dysentery.
Yeah.
You better fly a plane.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even the social media game, I mean, when I was late to it, I didn't get on Instagram till 2013.
I try to hold off thinking I was cooler than I am.
Yeah. I mean, I had people telling me to get on Instagram before I moved to LA, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah. TikTok,
get on Tumblr, get on Instagram.
Yeah, who cares? Here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, and with TikTok, when that first came out in the pandemic, I mean, I was kind of cherishing my time in the pandemic. I was creating stuff I actually was like enjoying creating, because there was no pressure. Everyone's shit was shut down. It was like, I just felt so free in a weird way. I felt so creatively free. I was riding up a storm. I mean, I didn't get to start performing that stuff until like 2021 when things started to open. But yeah, I mean, it was like such a creatively free time. And TikTok, it just felt like you were jumping on trends, and I didn't feel very creative doing that.
Oh, it felt like
and
a
I deleted
misdemeanor.
all those old TikToks too, because I was like jumping on all these. I tried to do one dance. I did one dance video, and then I was like, I can't ever do that again. That's so bad. But it was
TikTok
like
came out. They were like, it's for 13-year-old girls. I said, all right, enough information for me.
Same. I was like, nope.
I'll never download it.
But then I did start putting some stuff on there more over the last like year, more consistently.
You cannot not.
And then I actually have seen like a nice uptick from just being consistent about it. But it's a lot for us to have to keep on top of. Yeah. Managing everything. Managing socials is a whole separate career from booking gigs and then from doing TV or pitching shows or blah, blah, blah. Like when people have asked me, are you a full-time comedian? I never even know how to reply to that because I'm like, you don't even understand. What do you think? I just make a full living from showing up to a show and getting paid and then walking off stage? Yeah. It is so much more integral.
That's the easiest
and
part.
I just say yes because I'm like, I can't even explain to you remotely what it takes to succeed in this business. Like producing things, whether that's TV or shorts or,
And by the way, whenever you make it to whatever that next level is, it's just another level where you're like, man, I can't wait till I make it to that level.
No, I mean, always. You're always looking at but the more you level up, the more you can delegate. And that's when it becomes less is on you. Yeah. But you have to learn. Coming up in comedy is and entertainment subsequently is so similar to like eventually opening a restaurant. If you are going to get funded for that restaurant and people are going to back you and actually go to the restaurant, you have had to work as a dishwasher, as a busser, as a server, as a bartender, as a day manager, as a this, as a the, and then you have had to work in the kitchen and understand how ordering, and then you have to do the inventory, and then
network, food, produce,
and then you have to do the marketing, and you have to learn all these different roles and wear all these hats before people are going to trust you, not only to come to your restaurant but to
be
back
on your
it.
reviews, reply to everything.
Get people to leave reviews. I mean, that is what our career is like. You start as a backdoor dishwasher in comedy and you're open micing and doing all that stuff. And then over time you start to, I kind of look at it as like going up through the ranks of school. Like your first year, you're in first grade. Your fifth year, you're in fifth grade. Like I've been doing it 15 years. I'm still in high school as far as I'm concerned. And some people make it in eighth grade. Yeah. But then they don't make it past
Or they just give up, drop out of school.
Yeah, I mean, so it's
And then you're a 40-year chef, Michelin stars, and you spend the last 3 years of your life making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Right. Yeah. That's why I've always trusted. I'm like, I trust the trajectory of my career because by the time I get to XYZ place, well, I'm already at the place I never expected myself to be at 10 years ago. I mean, I did, but I'm also like still blown away and allow myself to have days where I'm like, damn, you're doing it. Now you have to be grateful for where you are, but also still aspire for other things. I mean, we're artists. You're supposed to do that.
But at the end of the day, it's just so much fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun.
Comedy?
Being around these degenerates that we know in these green rooms, have the conversations we're having.
Yeah.
But even better than that, just being in the back of the green room going, ah, ha, 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 and then being on stage knowing that they're in the back of the green room going, ah, ha, 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 ha.
Well, and it's like green room energy is so interesting too, because sometimes you have like, sometimes people.
I've seen it now. There's this going on in the green room.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not talking about green room. It's a room on the side. I'm talking about it's a bar gig or it's whatever. Everybody's all in one place, and there's 5 comics in the back with their faces down, and it's like
I'm always fucking kicking it, man.
Hell
and
yeah.
sometimes I'm having good, like, how when people meet you outside of comedy and they're like, oh, I'd expect you to be like this, and I'm like, right now I'm just chilling, being a person.
Yeah.
Expect me to be funny when I want to be, know, and then I'm around funny people and then it starts coming, and like you start shooting the shit in that way.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you just have sometimes we'll be in the green room talking about some really deep shit and then we all go up and just fucking rip one,
At the end of the day, you're a Vietnam vet. When I'm out at the Jewels, I'm doing my best not to spaz out and make everybody else uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But if I bump into another Vietnam vet, I'm like, hey, let's go off in this corner and trade war stories.
In some environments too, like I started getting invited in Chicago to a lot of entrepreneur events with VCs and stuff. And like some of those people, when they meet me after time number 3 or time number 4, are like, oh, you seem like you're really coming out of your shell. I'm like, no. It's never that I'm not coming out of my shell. My first few times I'm in a new environment, I fucking observe people. I am watching what people do. I'm reading the room. I'm understanding what the fuck these motherfuckers are about. Like, who can I say what to? And who's going to be offended by what? I read the room.
Yeah, for sure.
Now I know how to play into the right people's sense of humor in the right way.
Yeah.
Because some of those things I keep going too often.
It's my crutch.
I am not one of those comedians that walk in every room and be like, look at me. I'm like, we're doing that for a living all the time.
No. Unless I'm like keyed and I'm just in that energy to go in there and just be
or
the
if the
center
room
of
needs
attention.
It. Like if the room is dull, then I'm like, okay, let's fucking turn this around.
Yeah, but most of the time I'm just like, I'll be here in my little shadow.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just chilling, or sometimes I'm watching somebody and I'm like, what the fuck do they think they're all about? I'm like,
sometimes I'm just
and you're getting
absorbing
ideas
it.
and you're texting yourself stuff because you're like, oh, that makes a fun joke.
So you think there's going to be a decent amount of young people that go counterculture to the new movement of technology?
I do. I think
Are
there's
you talking
always
like 80-20, 70-30?
I mean, I couldn't tell you those ratios, but I will say I was kind of shocked by some of the things that my co-founder, professor, she also works at one of the biggest startups in the country that we use every single day. So to hear her say that that she's seeing that in kids, like she had to, she kind of made them have to use AI for an assignment. They loved the assignment, but they all were like, we didn't really like having to use AI for it. I mean, to the right degrees, you have to lean into it. It's like the age of the internet. You can't deny that it's going to be integrated into our culture. But as far as removing creativity from or problem solving or things like that,
forget about it.
Like that's a detriment to future brains that we're bringing up. And I think they're catching on to some of that.
I definitely see where you're coming from with that, but I don't know how to start a fire.
Yeah.
lighter's been around my entire life. Matches, I don't need that. But the thousands of generations before me, you had to have that to survive, or else you're gonna get eaten by a pack of wolves or freeze at night.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm Gen X, right? I myself am the pivot point. My generation, and a little bit in front of me, a little bit behind me, are the generation that had 1 foot in the analog and 1 foot in the digital. Like, watch the whole thing happen, and still young enough to be like, all right, I can still adapt to some of this new stuff. The last human mutation, you can actually see it at any point in time. If you go out and catch somebody, a boomer, right, and watch how they manipulate their phone. They're going to do it with their pointer finger, because that's how they manipulated everything. The old school touch tone phones and the rotary
and we're up
dials.
there with our thumbs.
And then we changed over to thumbs. So, like, our generation that's raising the young kids, who are the young kids in high school and what about, we're teaching analog values to them. But then how long until you're like, I don't need to teach you how to rub two sticks together. Here's a lighter.
Yeah. I mean, and that's true. And like, part of it is, it's not really our job. Like, we're in that mid era that is eventually going to be gone. I mean, we're all going to eventually be gone. Truth, but it's not our job to know what they're going to do with civilization when we're not here.
Right. Good luck to you.
It's not. I mean, can't. You can't. We couldn't have even guessed from 150 years ago what would be happening right now.
No. When you watch old Star Trek, none of them have a cell phone, and they were supposed to be in like year 53,000.
Yes.
And they didn't figure out the cell phone. They still have walkie-talkies on their chest.
And like the Jetsons, like part of the Jetsons is actual. Like, we got robot cars and all that shit, but like flying cars, that's a whole nother level of trusting people with air traffic control.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure the government shut down. You know how many flying car crashes there would have been in the last 2 weeks?
And at some point, whatever you're putting this on YouTube is going to be a relic. Somebody's going to find that as a relic in a time capsule and be like, they used to just put stuff on videos on the internet. Now they're floating around and like, who the fuck knows?
At this point in time, no new invention would scare me, shock me, or it's just like, is it convenient? If I saw a flying car, we're in Chicago, I'd just be like, oh, they got those now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was just in LA 4 weeks ago, the driverless cars.
Yeah, the
whatever.
Waymos.
Yeah, you just see them and it's just, everything's a slow progression. But if you transported me from 1997 till now, I'd be like,
yeah.
Is that a little burrito cart just rolling down?
Yeah.
Belmont?
Which, I mean, I was alive in 1997.
Yeah. And it's just.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
everything comes by slowly. You just get slowly integrated in it. You hear something on the news about it. You see one commercial, and the next thing you know, it's just out there.
We have been around, in my opinion, in one of the most pivotal times where so much has transpired.
It's the most amazing
the internet
time
came about when we were young.
In all of history.
Yeah. And then, like, look at all this shit that's happened in that last 40 years. I mean, I just turned 40 this year. And I'm like, holy shit, I can still remember dial-up internet and how to sing that song. I can like do the whole tune.
It took them like 5,000 years to build the pyramids. They're boring. I've never seen them. And I hope to one day. But that was a lot of people died making those.
That much? Because the pyramids, the way that those were designed was remarkable.
Of course.
I used to watch documentaries on it all the time. Like the water systems and the lever and the way everything was,
and it's airtight, and it used to have like this.
How did we take so long to go from the pyramids to literally anything else? By the way,
Nefertiti closer to us than she is the people that started the pyramids on the time scale.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I never thought about that.
Thousands of years it took them to make this.
Insane.
Thousands of years for the aliens to fly down with their futuristic technology.
The aliens that have been hiding in our soil.
But even that.
By the way, I think I met an alien once. I'm not even fucking kidding.
In this game, of course.
I'm not even. No, this was the year Obama was getting elected.
Okay.
I was bartending across from Second City at Wells on Wells. bartending on a Sunday. I'm not even kidding. I still think about this guy every once in a while. I haven't ever talked about this in public. No, he came in. It was a Sunday. So I was bartending on Sunday. It was slow. So I usually just football on and a couple of people around. Yeah. And this guy came in. He looked like he was early 50s. Early 50s. And he comes in. He's just looking around at everything kind of weird. I wish I could remember the exact dialogue, but I'm going to try to get it as close to it as possible. Yeah. He came over to the bar, and his mannerisms were like, he put his hands on the bar and he was like, and he was like, "Is this where I sit?" And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead and have a seat, you know." And then he was looking at something else, and he goes, "Beer. Should I have one of those?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can have a beer." Yeah. Like it was like it seemed like he was trying to assess. At first, I was like, "Is he on something?" And at one point, I went back into the kitchen and went to one of the cooks. I was like, "Dude, there's an alien at the bar."
Yeah. No, he was certainly on a lot of drugs. But
no, I mean, there was no sign of drug. He was by himself. He didn't seem drunk. He was speaking completely
just
clear.
Very Men in Blackish.
But like, yes, and everything he was asking, he was like basically kind of inquiring if that was like the correct thing to do.
Like his tone modulator wasn't working properly.
He was like halfway shutting down, and he sat there for.
You met an alien on safe mode.
They were like, "You might be ousted from our community, so go see what you can do on Earth for a little bit." And he's like,
13% battery.
Where do I go? And, at one point, he's like drinking his beer, and he's like, like everything about him was so fucking crazy. And it was before, I mean, we had videos on our phones, but it was still like the halfway open keypad phone, so you couldn't like get a video. But I remember thinking, God, I wish I could get a video of this guy. This is fucking crazy. And that's, I think, well, who knows? They might have gotten more sophisticated since, but that was the one time I was like,
you know how much data they collected off of that?
Dude, I met an alien. I probably contribute.
You're 30,000 light years away on a whatever they use for a television. Going, look at her reaction here. We
I was like feeding some sort of system because I was looking at him like, are you fucking kidding me?
Curtis, did you put the beer in your ear?
Yeah.
Oh, you asshole.
It doesn't go. You're supposed to digest it orally, sir. Yeah, that was such a day. What a day.
So we can all admit nobody likes the end of a relationship, regardless, good, bad. You see it coming. It's a surprise, whatever, what have you, right? You happen to take lemons and make a lemonade stand.
With my last special?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of give a nod to it in this new hour that I'm going to record because I feel like there's a lot of questions after my last special. So we shot it, the pandemic hit, and my relationship continued to blow up. It's really because I joke about some of the aftermath in it in this new hour. Because yes, our wedding was canceled, and then I shot the special on that day instead.
Which, by the way, as far as entrepreneurship, you can't get much. Was there in that gumbo pot that ended up being, this moment where you shoot your special? Was there like a dash of spite, a hint of embarrassment, a little of capture the moment, carpe diem?
I'll give you the goods that I haven't talked about actually with anybody yet. So, we had gotten engaged in 2017, but we had started dating in 2011. So it already took a long time to get engaged. Then we had set our wedding date for 2018. I had always had a little bit of at oddsness with his family, not completely, not in the beginning. Sure. I had been friends with his brother. His dad took some warming up. He didn't really like anybody. But his dad never really loved that I was a comedian. Just didn't think it was a real job. But then he loved watching Bill Burr. So it was like,
gotcha.
He liked real comedians, but
gotcha.
not women who do comedy. I shouldn't say that. I can't speak for him. But that was the feeling that I felt. I got along with his mother very well. She and I were like two peas in a pod. Unfortunately, his mother had passed. It was like right around or after we got engaged, or no, maybe it was just, it was actually just before. It was just before.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, and of course, understandably, he was in a really bad place. So anyway, we get engaged, and I never really felt quite good with his family without her in the picture. I'm not making that about me. Somebody else's law, like that's his mom.
But you're a valid part of it, because I mean, I get it.
I
In the
was
big
very
picture,
much there, like with the family, flew in when this was all happening, and
Yeah, of course.
did what I could best do to support somebody going
Yeah.
through something that horrible. I mean, it was, so anyway, it felt like over time, over the course of our engagement, and then that next year that it felt like treading a little bit of water. Understandably so, but also I wasn't getting much help actually no help from him or his dad or anything about the wedding planning. So me and my mom signed our names on the venue. We put the deposit down. It was on us to have to fulfill those terms. So 2018 is starting to creep up, and we hadn't planned anything because I was basically in the trenches figuring this out with my mom. And I had found the venue. Obviously, we had already put that on lock. But we were, 7-8 months out from our wedding date, and we were like, this has to move. So I actually called the venue and moved it 6 months, and they were kind enough to move it. A couple more months goes by, and I was like, hey, venue, we have to move this again, because I just also still, there was a number of things that I was feeling, and also wasn't getting, there were a lot of issues. So
that's a lot to encompass all in.
Yeah.
Those are all very heavy base element emotions. Yeah.
So I had moved the wedding at this point 3 times, and the venue was kind enough to move it from the date one to the later that year, and then again to the next year.
And they're taking bets on their side over.
Yeah, I mean, it's not technically a wedding venue all the time. It was this cool venue that Nate Craig, I don't know if you know Nate Craig, but he runs holiday shows at this venue in Wisconsin. It's like downtown by the Capitol. It's a very versatile, huge venue. They got the stage and the seating on one side, and they have like the huge bar and like whole area. And I wanted everything to be in one place.
Sure.
So they had moved to 2019. That was when our relationship really started to take a big dip. I don't want to air any dirty laundry, but there were definitely some things on his side and some things on my side that just it wasn't aligning. And so we had still been planning to try to figure it out. So it wasn't like the wedding was like a full on go, like we had the band, we had everything. It wasn't quite that dramatic. It was like earlier that year I had filmed a half hour because I just wanted to see if I had the pieces in place to put an hour together. So I was kind of prepping to film an hour, and everyone still had the save the dates, but kept asking leading up, like, are we still coming to this? What the fuck's going on? And we didn't have anything planned. So it was about 3-4 weeks out that I was like, listen, I'm in the pocket with my mom on this. We cannot move the date again. I have to figure out something to do with the space. And then my now boyfriend, Jake, he was living in Madison doing comedy at the time. I asked him to open for me. I originally had asked him to come fuck with people at my wedding because I thought he was, funny, and I wanted a fun vibe. I wanted people to get roasted and stuff. So then I call him, and he actually tells me to try and renegotiate with the venue if I'm going to shoot a special, because they'll be like shown in it and we can like give them a credit and stuff. And they did. So not only did they move 3 times for me, they changed their terms to be more favorable. I still had the dinner, did that pre-show for VIP ticket holders, came and greeted them like it was a wedding. I treated the day like a wedding day. But I had turned that into that situation about 3 weeks out. And then I went to St. Croix, where I go perform every year, and ran my hour there because they were the only environment that I'd been going to regularly that I felt would suspend belief enough to be able to run my new stuff that I had written just for that day in that fake environment.
Sure.
Because it's island. Like they were like, yeah, we'll fucking go on this ride with Natasha. So I did that and then shot the special. And then I tried to include my ex in it he didn't come to the special taping. He wasn't a part of the day, but me and my director had him FaceTime in at the end for like a nice button, like, hey, maybe, you know, it'll work out, blah, blah, blah. And from the day of filming the special, the next 6 months were just the tail end of the scraps of us thinking that this relationship could work out, but it did not. So it was a really drawn out, really painfully long breakup that I was just trying to keep my head out of the gutter during, you know?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, generally speaking, take however much time you've been with somebody, slice it in half, and that's how much time you guys were breaking up.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. I mean, we were together 9 years, but the engagement into the long breakup time was like over the course of the last 3.
Yeah.
You know, so it was
because it's a process, especially if it's genuine. It's a process to get out of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we had
you don't just hit the switch. Like you have to go to like each department and turn the lights off, shut the heat off, grab everything off the desk, get all the file folders out and whatnot.
I've never, and then, you know, by the time we did break up, the pandemic hit just after, and it was just like a cascade of like, what the fuck?
Yeah, of course.
But everything happens for a reason when it does. I mean, I am thankful we broke up before the pandemic and not during it. And yeah, some other things played out that were kind of shocking afterwards too.
Mystery and intrigue on the new episode of Real R.A.P podcast. No, that's tremendous, and it's a hell of a story, and I can't thank you enough for making the time, because this episode was damn near a wedding that we had to keep putting off.
Oh yeah, I know.
Rescheduling. Yeah. No, that's so dope, and please do me a favor, let all the folks know, one, for myself as well, when your TED Talk comes out, where they can find your special and any new specials, and where they can find you with all your socials as well.
Everything of mine is on my website, nphcomedy.com. Most of my socials are at nphcomedy. Natasha Pearl Hansen, not miles per hour. Some people type in an M and I'm like, no, it's Natasha. No. NPH, Neil Patrick Harris, whatever you can remember.
Right.
nphcomedy.com. That's where I have my upcoming tour dates. On the main page, both my special and my mini special are linked, which will tease into my new hour that I'm going to film soon. And I have a weekly newsletter called The Hustle and Chill.
Hustle and Chill.
Where I talk through things that, you know, that are the hustle part of life and things about the chilling out and allowing some mindfulness stuff, but all in a comedic way.
Self-care.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a comedic rendition of how I live my life on a daily basis.
Hell
that's meant to help people
Tremendous following online. And after the TED Talk comes out, I'm sure it is just going to explode. That's going to be an interesting network opportunities for you when that comes out. Like the people that are going to be pulled into your gravity.
That's why I haven't done too much overthinking about it, because I'm like, there's a whole... You kind of look at your career as like a beam of light. You know, when you first start out, that beam is pretty narrow and your opportunities are pretty small.
Sure, yeah.
But over time, more opportunities come about that you hadn't even thought of. So I'm like waiting for that beam to be so large that I'm like, ooh, what is this?
You're absolutely right. Like the circles I'm in right now and the stuff, the opportunities, I have them like, no way.
Yeah.
Like if I sit down and think about it too much, I'll freak myself out.
Yeah, I know.
But, you know, just going through the motions, like,
well, and it is
cool.
That's what is cool about over time. People are like, you know, what's your 1-year plan or your 5-year plan? I'm like, I have 3 things that I'm definitely going to do in the next year, but I don't know what other things are going to come about as an offer could also, because TED was kind of like that. I wrote that down as a vision board thing end of last year.
That's awesome.
And just ended up, I had no idea from A to B how I would get it.
That is actually pretty awesome.
And it ended up just happening so organically. I didn't have to seek it out. I didn't have to try. I didn't have to pitch myself, nothing. So
you just spoke to the universe and it came looking for you.
Honestly, that's like part of what I put in my newsletter too, is like that relax and allow, that like taking the pedal off a little bit. Like speed up when you need to.
Yeah.
You know,
But
certain
stay
things.
in motion.
Stay in
Inertia
motion.
is the key. When
Stay
you're
in
in motion,
motion.
you attract naturally.
But, you know, it's like a shark. Sometimes they're always moving or they die.
Got to.
But sometimes they're fucking gunning it, and sometimes they're like chilling, just watching stuff, you know? So it's like kind of that finding that balance.
Absolutely.
So
That is amazing. Once again, please make sure you're checking out Natasha Pearl Hansen. If you made it this far, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me your thoughts, share. Take a look out for her. Keep coming back. Real Rap Podcast, Mike Knight, Natasha Pearl Hansen. Love you guys. Peace.
that was fun.